Okay, so we talked about, again, some of the really positive things that you're doing well in terms of running your cases and interacting with parents and prioritizing the program. There were one or two things that I just wanted to talk to you about and give you a little bit of feedback of some issues that I saw come up during the clinic.
Okay.
One of the issues that I saw come up several times was, you were kind of involved with the client and giving direct feedback to one of the staff.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other staff members was having sort of a personal conversation with mom on the side. And I noticed that there were just seemed like there were some boundaries that were being crossed and that maybe there was a dual relationship that's forming between one of the staff members and the parent. And so I don't know if that was something that's come up in the past with either this parent or with that therapist.
I've had some suspicions that therapist, if I'm thinking of the right one, has been getting a little too attached to the family.
Yeah. And again, I think, you have a very clear understanding of why dual relationships are not appropriate, because it does, impede our ability to make appropriate clinical decisions. And it kind of takes or steers our focus away from the learner.
Right.
And instead kind of adds in those additional variables of, well, I also have now a social relationship with mom, and maybe I don't want to do something that she's going to disagree with or not going to be comfortable for her, and so that can really cloud our judgment.
Yeah.
And as a therapist in the home working with the client, that, again, is a particular problem, because if you're asking that therapist to do parent training or even, just maybe give mom some, feedback or do some activities together, that could definitely detract away from the quality that she's able to provide.
Yes.
So one of the things that maybe we can talk about would be how to kind of better train your staff of avoiding those dual relationships, and then also what maybe steps you need to take in order to remedy that situation. Because it seemed like, clinically she was a very good, therapist, and she has a really good handle on, behavior management and how to, work with the individual. But I could definitely see that being an issue, and especially mom seems very chatty, and I would be afraid that when she shows up to, work with the child, that she's going to be spending time doing stuff with mom. So have you talked to the therapist about this?
Not yet. When I went on an overlap, I tried to steer things more towards the appropriate thing.
Yeah.
But I guess there should be further conversations.
Yeah, I think, again, just because, we assume that the staff that are working for us understand the implications of the dual relationship.
Right.
And, so maybe you could handle it one of two ways. I mean, if you feel like maybe you need to pull her aside specifically and talk to her about some of the things that you're noticing and give her some strategies of how to avoid the dual relationship. But also, I think, maybe explaining to her why it's a problem. Because it's not like we're just trying to, be mean and not want, but there's a clinical reason and an ethical reason why we need her to avoid some of the, the dual relationship behaviors. So that was something that we can talk about. And then the only other thing that I wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on was there were a couple of new lessons that you guys talked about during your clinic. And I think if it'd probably be more effective for your staff if when you introduce that new activity, if you actually demonstrated it for them within the clinic.
Oh, okay.
I know it's hard because there's a time crunch and you're trying to make sure that you're managing all sorts of things at once. And you did a really nice job demonstrating other particular skills, within that meeting with the client so that your staff could see. But I'd probably make a particular point of doing it at the beginning or when you're first introducing a lesson.
Right.
Because obviously you want to make sure that they're
Everyone's
doing
consistent.
Right. And if it's the first time that they're seeing it, then it's probably a good time for you to, get down and demonstrate that for them.
Right.
Just so you can make sure that they're all, like you said, being consistent, using the same prompts and fading the prompts effectively and, But I think, again, just maybe being a little bit more particular in terms of, making sure you demonstrate those lessons as they're brand new.
All right.
Okay?
Thank Thank you.